Okay. I believe we are live now on YouTube, and I'm going to confirm with Facebook as well.
All right.
Let's see here. Not certain about Facebook, but guys, welcome back again to another podcast series where we are live. I haven't been live in, I believe it's been about a week or two, actually more than that. So I'm just confirming that everything is good. If you can hear me, hopefully the audio and camera, everything is coming through. I'm just going to confirm. Let's see here. Okay. So we're just going to give about 5 minutes for people to join the live stream. You can join the live stream. This is going to be a really important conversation that you don't want to miss. If you're live, you can always, if you've joined the stream, you can always leave a comment or just indicate that you are with us on the live stream. As you can see from the thumbnail, we'll be discussing a pretty important conversation on the rise of situationships amongst young people. You might see me looking at my laptop and also looking at the lens. Don't be distracted. That's just me trying to make sure everything is running properly and smoothly. I believe we are also live on Facebook right now and YouTube. So if you're joining from Facebook or YouTube, welcome to the channel. My name is Ikenna Onwe. And in this channel, we discuss everything related to dating and relationships, especially amongst young men. I'll be waiting for more people to join. Let's see here. Okay, so if you've joined the stream, you can always just indicate that you are with us on this live stream. We're going to give a few more minutes to anyone who is joining us from anywhere around the world. You're welcome to the live stream. In this particular stream, actually, we'll have a guest, and the guest is currently with me. Is a special guest. Actually, I have to put that in there. So his name is Bro Shea Adenuba, and he's a married Christian man. Shea has been married for, I believe, around 11 years, and he has 2 kids as well. He's a podcast host and also a banker with almost 2 decades of experience, which is a lot. He's going to be bringing us insights on the rise of situationships amongst young people. As we all know, marriage is steadily on the decline. A lot of statistics prove this, and Shea will be sharing a lot of those things with us. We would like to know what is going on amongst young people and why young people are not really getting married, if marriage is still worth it in 2025. We're going into the new year now. So we don't know if marriage is still worth it. And this is something that we'll be hearing from Shea, who will be joining the stream. I'm still going to give a few more minutes for people to join, wherever you're joining from. Once again, my name is Ike. Welcome to the live stream. And we'll be having a conversation in this stream with our guest, Shea. So I'm just going to introduce Shea while we still wait for other people to join the stream, whether you're joining from Facebook or you're joining from YouTube. You're welcome to the stream. So I'll switch it over to Shea. Go ahead, introduce yourself.
Thanks, Ikenna. Thanks for having me. Like you said, my name is Shea. I've been married for about 11 years. So been there, done that. And it's interesting that he brought this topic up, situationships. So that's one of the things that I can say I got entangled with, so, when I was younger, before I got married. So, as a matter of fact, me and Ikena were discussing about it before we start talking about the questions and all that. But we're discussing about it, and I was like, the truth is that even amongst married people, situationships, it exists, because you find that people that are married get to, just because they want to feel that spark again, they engage in, relationships that are not clearly defined with other people, and stuff happen, a situation kind of crosses the border between normal relationships, and they find themselves in that. So it's a very interesting topic, and I hope to bring a little of my experience to the table, so maybe one or two of you can learn.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining the live stream. And guys, I'm still giving a few more minutes for whoever needs to join. But while we're on that, I wanted to understand from Shaya here, just his, what you generally think of this topic and why it's important to have a conversation like this in this time of of stage in life, especially amongst young people. What is the reason for this conversation? What do you think people will stand to benefit by having this conversation exactly?
That's a great question. One of the things that you would agree with me is on a decline is morality generally. So because that is on a decline, it also means that things that are considered to be structural or foundational, fundamental in our society or in our economy or in our society, as it were, are no longer held to be true as much anymore. And so one of those things is what you can look at, maybe marriage, because as it is now, you watch Nollywood. Before there was a time when Nollywood was a standard, right? And that's why you find that curse words it was only in a few movies that you find curse words. You find it only in hip hop music a lot, but in box office movies, curse words were not that prevalent. But now, those things are everywhere right now, and that's because, like I said, there's a decline. And so, because those guys don't feel a sense of morality as much anymore, you find that things like extramarital affairs is almost celebrated. For example, one of the most popular movies, we've not started yet, so we're just in general.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
allow me to digress a little bit. There's this movie called, I'm sure you know of the movie The Joker.
Yes.
The Joker is a bad guy, but now they are making an entire movie out of the Joker. Why? Because morality is on a decline. Bad people are celebrated. I don't want to go into US politics, so I'll leave that beside. But because that is happening, what is the effect, as it were, on marriages is that people are looking at like, well, I don't have to be married. I can eat my cake and have it. I don't have to be married, so I can just, just sleep with someone, have sex, get married. Sleep with somebody, have a kid, live with the person, do whatever I can do without being stuck in that marriage bubble. And so because of that, you find that people are in situationships or just relationships that are not clearly defined, and the unfortunate thing about, and this is where your question comes in, the reason why it's important to have a conversation like this is sometimes we need to bring people and say, look here, if you're not in a serious, committed, defined relationship, you're missing out on a number of things. There's a huge risk that you're assigned to that comes with not being in a defined relationship. And so because of that, it's important to have these conversations and get people in. Yeah,
absolutely. I hear a lot of things from you there, but what would you say at the end of the day is the benefit of someone being married then? Because like if I'm in a non-committed relationship and then I'm getting the benefits of satisfying myself sexually and also possibly even having a child outside of marriage, then what additional benefit does marriage really give me if I'm already getting the benefits outside of marriage? I mean, because at the end of the day, there are some benefits that I get by not being married as well. I'm not going to tie myself legally to somebody. And also, if something happens between us, she's not going to take half of my wealth and run away with it.
Tell me about it.
So what is the benefit that I'm actually getting exactly?
That's it. That's another really good question, really. So I'm going to approach it from two sides. The first side is, because I'm a Christian, I take my religion very seriously. It's the fundamental for my entire life, and every time I speak anywhere, it's foundational. So, from the religious side, which is fundamental, the Bible clearly says it, and I'm a Christian. Let me just put that out there. The Bible says that it is wrong. You should get married. If you want to have sex with somebody, if you want to have kids and all that, this is what you should do. You should get married and commit yourself. And the question now becomes why. So outside of the commandment, as it were, if you ask yourself why, the thing I would say is this: if you don't if you're not committed to someone in the marriage circle, it means the person can afford to do whatever they want to do. Usually what would happen is they would only be with you for as long as they enjoy you. The moment they stop enjoying you, they can step out. Do you get? One of the things in marriage, and we talk about this in marriage counseling session, is when I have counseling sessions with people, is your marriage actually starts after a few years of marriage, usually after the 50 year of marriage. What do I mean by that? Within the first few years of marriage, you guys are still loving it and enjoying it. After like 2-3 years, and you guys have seen each other completely, when the Bible says that the two of them were naked, that means you've seen yourself completely. Then we can now sit down and say, okay, I know you now. I see all your, your flaws.
Yeah.
Do you get? But if you're in a situationship and you're enjoying sex and you're enjoying, the commitment of that the companionship of that person, and the person is cooking for you and doing all those things, and I'm talking from the perspective of a man now, why should the person stay up when they get tired? And I can guarantee you a time will come when you will get tired. Let me know when it's time for us to start, because I'm already...
No, we're already in the group.
Okay.
We're already in the group. I'm listening to you, and a lot of people already joined and listening.
Okay,
yeah,
perfect. I was listening to, there was this young man, he just got married. I think this was a few months into his marriage, and he called me, and I did the whole marriage counseling session for them, and it was almost like, that kind of quiet, like he just leaned into me and said, Brasha, I need to discuss something. I was like, yeah, sure, what's up? What's going on? And he said, this marriage thing, I'm not so sure. Did I make a mistake? I said, you are there already. Don't worry. All of us got there. Anybody that's been married for a while, usually it comes a time when you begin to ask yourself questions. But why did the person stay in that marriage? You see, and that's the point I'm trying to get at. Because he made the commitment in front of God and in front of men, and he committed himself and his integrity at stake. But he stayed in that marriage, and what happened? They began to work it out. If you're not in a committed relationship, what do you think that guy would do? Let's assume the guy was not committed and he's not married. He's going to leave because he's tired. He's seen her nakedness and he has seen her flaws. All of us we're all flawed in one capacity or the other. Yeah. You get, once we become naked, and that skeleton in the cupboard that you're hiding, that flaw in your character and your behavior, in how you say things, it becomes exposed. Even when things that are not even flaws. Let me give you an example. For example, and I'm going to allow me to use a bit of vernacular here. When I was growing up, the way that I grew up, when you say there's this thing in Yoruba called sha. So if I say like that, put it on the tip, I sha did it. That kind of thing. When you use that sha, the way that my mom trained me was that is abusive and insultive. Do you get? So you wouldn't find it in my vernacular, except I'm trying to actually insult someone. So if I'm in a relationship with you, especially when I got married, and my wife uses it, I feel insulted. But for her, it's just normal conversation, because growing up for her, it's just normal conversation. They talk about it, you shall did it. Okay, shall put it there, and that's not a big deal. Yeah. And for those that don't understand, Yoruba sha is like an emphasis. You're trying to emphasize that it's almost like actually. Do you get? So two different worlds, but for me, it felt insultive. Do you get? So even when it's not a bad thing or a skeleton in the cupboard, it can be a cause for friction. Do you get? So what happens when your language, your belief, your understanding don't align? Naturally, if there's no commitment, the person leaves. So you're setting yourself up for eventually. I mean, ask yourself a question. How many people do you know that are in that situationship, or in quote partners, because that's what they try to label it as now, are in partnerships that have lasted for several years? I'm not saying there's none, but how many are out there?
Yeah. So you're saying, there's something I picked up from you there. You're saying that it's possible to. I mean, when you're in a marriage, there are some terms that when you hear.
Mm-hmm.
That was the second thing you said. There's some terms that when your wife uses, it kind of like offends you,
Yeah.
but it doesn't mean anything to her.
Yeah, and that's where the communication comes, right? Because you now begin to sit down and say, rather than me just get angry, I need to understand her world and my world, and then we now begin to sit down and say, okay, because this is, I find this insultive, and for me, because it's normal, and when I step outside, and I have to be objective here, and if I step out of that, I'm able to look at it and say, you know what, maybe in my head it's insultive, but what does she actually mean? It's just a conversation.
Yeah.
And Sha, just using Sha, it's like an emphasis, right? It doesn't really mean anything. I'm the one that now has to compromise and say, whenever she uses it, I must understand that she doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
It's just a conversation.
So
Do you get? And so that's where I've said it before, I realized that I think I'm the one that needs to make an adjustment because, and then she too, maybe she tries to reduce it from her vocabulary as much as possible. Do you get? And that's where the compromise is. But if I'm not in a committed relationship, why should I compromise? I don't like it. I don't like it. This is my truth, in quote. You know what I'm saying? Like, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
that's a lot of my truth. You also said something about people getting into a marriage and then they have regrets. Like, can you explain that a little bit more? Because everyone anticipates to be in a marriage, and then at some point, are you saying that at some point there's this feeling of like?
So it's not, the word is not regret. It's a feeling that you get where you begin to ask yourself if you made the right decision. I can almost, except your marriage is just extremely perfect, which is rare. Usually in most marriages, at least for the people that I've had conversations with, it comes a time when you begin to ask yourself, did I make the right decision? Am I sure of this person? Because what has happened at that time is that you have actually seen the person's nakedness. You have seen the person's flaws, and sometimes they can be, not always, but they can be overwhelming. Like, wow, so this is what I have to do. Now, don't forget the fact that you have your flaws, and that person has seen it too. As a matter of fact, one of the most common things is that is around the same time both of you are feeling the same way. You are feeling like, who is this person that I got married to? Do you get? And then she's probably feeling the same thing too. Like, who is this person? Look at all these flaws that I have to deal with. Now, the beauty about marriage is that you guys now begin to come together. You guys now begin to have conversations. You begin to say, I don't like this thing. Okay, I know you have this thing. How can I help you get past this? How can I help you get, okay, this is a flaw in the way you behave and the way you talk or the way you do things. How can I help you get past it? You hear people that, okay, for some people, it's just, some people are just very meticulous in the way they arrange, they like their places arranged. For example, I'm in your studio now and I'm jealous of a lot of things that I'm seeing here. Do you get how everything is arranged? And I can almost tell that you're a very meticulous person. You like things being structured.
Yes.
But there's some people that are not like that. They just like that chaos, a little bit of chaos. It makes it feel homely for them. Do you get? And those are differences. And then you're not like, why is this thing here? Why are you putting the coffee on this place? Why is this thing there? And then you begin to disagree. And then see, and that's the beauty of marriage is you guys now begin to compromise and begin to come together and then begin to agree and begin to, okay, I'll make this arrangement, this adjustment, this. But if it is justice, so it's not regret as it were. It's like, oh my God, what have I done? You get that, oh my God moment.
Yes.
That's what I mean. So it's not regret like I shouldn't have done this. What have I done with myself?
Yeah.
It's just a case of, holy smokes, who is this person?
Okay.
That kind of thing.
But and these some things that you would have seen during the dating process. How long are you encouraging people to date to appropriately get to know somebody? Is there a time frame that really works, or is it dependent on the individual?
Got some great questions there. The beauty about it is, honestly, and I'll say this honestly, there's no way you can know someone 100% except you live with them for a while. There's no way you can really know somebody like that. You can't really know them. And that's where situationship becomes prevalent. People are like, you know what, let me live with them for a while. But usually what happens is the person leaves. Now, what the point I'm trying to make is this. There's no way just being in a relationship with someone you can know the person, because the person can pretend. You hear of people, and this is something that you see in movies, that the lady wakes up earlier than usual and quickly does her makeup touch up her makeup so that you don't see her, completely in quote naked. As in when I say naked, I mean without all the makeups and all those kind of things, and so you can't really know somebody completely until you've lived with them for a while. Do you get? And so that's what marriage exposes. So you can know some things, but there's some things you just cannot know. For example, for myself, there's some things that I found out about myself, that my wife found out about me that she didn't know about until she got married. Let me give an example. Um, I'm trying to pick. There are quite a number of
Yeah.
examples, but some of them are quite private. So I'm trying to pick which one can I say, which one can I not say. So let me say the one that is not private. I'm a very conservative person, but you would never know. Or I'm an introvert in a lot of. I'm an introvert in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But you would never know until you get married to me. Because people see me, and when I was younger, I was outside. People see me outside a lot. I was like a leader in church, things like that. So I'm on the altar. I'm doing things. I was leader in the teens church. As a teenager, I was a leader. So people see me everywhere, and so people just assume, oh, this guy is out there all the time. People just assume I'm an extrovert. And then my wife gets married to me. I'm like, okay, let's go and do this. I'm like, no, I want to stay at home. What's all this? But she thought she was marrying an extrovert, and then she finds out later in marriage that this guy is an introvert. He likes to just stay at home, chill, and just watch TV, spend time with family, and all those kind of things. And for some people, it's a deal breaker for them, right?
Yeah.
So those are some of the things. There are some other private things that you would find out only after you get married. For example, putting the toilet seat up and down, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
This kind of there's some things that you can even look at oh, these things are silly, but you'll be surprised that those things are a big deal. How you put the toothpaste and stuff like that.
It's a big deal for a lot of women. Even how you put the toilet paper, like whether you fold
it the right way to fold it. Those are some of the things. So that's why you can't really know someone until you actually get married to them. It's in marriage that you become exposed to each other.
Okay. Guys, if you are still just joining the stream, if you just joined us, welcome. We're discussing on the rise of situationships. If marriage is, going down or nearly dead amongst young people. And I have Shaya with me on the podcast. So we're just going to take a step back here, Shaya. What is actually situationship? Because I find a lot of definitions to it. Even I've added my own definitions to it at some point. So I've talked about situationship not just being a situation where two people are in a relationship, but it's undefined. But also, I'm wondering if married people, if it's possible for them to be in a situationship. This is just my outside thought, because a situationship can also be a situation. Let's say one of them wants to have a child, and the other one doesn't. And now it's like, even though they are married, they are not moving forward. A situationship is almost a general term whereby people are in a fixed position that they are neither moving backwards nor forward, but they are just caught. That situation is holding them down there.
Yeah.
So many people see marriage as a target, as something they are striving to, and then they get in there and they feel like, is that it? What else now? What next? And then maybe now they want to have a child, but then maybe one person is not ready and the other person is ready. So I don't know if that's even a situation. We want to keep it simple, obviously, but generally taking a step back outside that example, what are the parameters that define a situationship?
Right. That's a great question. A situationship generally is, and I'm talking in general terms now. You went more granular, but on a general basis, it's what you can call, when two adults come together to an arrangement between two adults that starts between what you can call a fling and a committed relationship. So it's not a fling is just two people just see each other, they just get together and that's it. So it goes beyond friendship. It's like a bridge between friendship and a committed relationship. So you're just right there in that middle, not committed to each other, but you guys do. In your relationship, you guys do more than what just ordinary friends do. For example, you guys are, and this goes against my, Christian norms, but, you guys are probably having sex together. You guys are living together. Or even if you're not doing that, you guys are in a way committed to each other. For example, you see a girl, and I'm using myself as an example of stuff that happened in the past. You guys are friends, and you see this girl is really attractive. But maybe there's something about her that you're not 100% sure about. Maybe, you would want to date her. Maybe you're not dating anybody. You like her. You would want to date her, but there's a flaw. Let me just use a random example. She's got a temper. And you like her, everything else about her, the way you like the way she treats you and all that, but you know that this temper can be a big issue if you commit yourself to that person. Because the reason why you commit yourself to someone is because, say, for example, you've got long-term ambitions to be with the person for the rest of your life. You know, that kind of thing. So you don't want to commit 100% to that person, but at the same time, you enjoy her company. You enjoy the way she treats you, the way she cares for you, how she checks on you every now and then, how you guys exchange text messages. So you guys are beyond what friends are doing. Now, I'm not even talking about having sex and all that. You guys are beyond. Both of you are like, okay, what are we doing? You're not really defined, but you know, you want to go. You guys go on dates together. If you guys are in high school, you go to prom together, or you go to, if you're working, you go to your work dinner together, because it's both of you. You guys are together, but there's no commitment. You're not officially dating in terms of being in a relationship with together, where you guys are completely committed together. So that's what can be tagged as a situationship, right? It's just that thing between what I can call a fling and a committed relationship. Now, in between that, you find things like, you know, sex, living together and stuff like that, you know. But it's right there in between a committed relationship where you guys know what you guys are doing. We're committed to each other. We're boyfriend, girlfriend. We're dating. And we're doing that towards the goal of maybe getting married at some point, you know. So it's right there in between that. It's almost like a bridge. If you know that London Bridge, you know, the beginning is what I can call a fling. The end is the committed relationship. You're just right there in the middle.
So how would you say a situationship really differs from? I mean, I get the point of your definition, but how different is it from like casual sex and a committed relationship? So what I hear you like a situationship is like a bridge between you not really knowing the person and then like wanting more. You're almost more with the person, but you're kind of like in there.
Right.
So are you saying that a situationship is, what benefit are you getting in a situationship exactly? So that I know how different is it from something that's committed and something that's casual?
Right. So for a casual is just, you guys are just friends. Casual sex means you just have sex maybe once, you know, and that's it. You guys maybe you got drunk together and had sex, you know. But a situationship is a case where you guys are constantly having sex. Is both of you guys are eating the rewards of marriage, but you guys are not married, or you guys are eating the rewards of aside sex, you guys are the rewards of a committed relationship, but you guys are not committed to each other. You know, where you guys are, say for example, living together, going on dates together, committed, going to work, like I said, going to work functions together, and everybody knows both of you together. So there is a relationship, continuous relationship, as it were, continuous engagement, as it were, together. As against just casual friendship, we just know each other, nothing, no commitment, nothing. We just, for example, we're in church together, or we school together, or we work together, no commitment, just work. You know, so I think situationship it goes beyond when there is a continuous continuous engagement, whether in terms of communication that goes beyond. For example, you guys are in the same office, but outside of work, you guys talk all the time. Outside of work, you guys hang out all the time.
Yeah.
You know, but there is no defined, we're dating, boyfriend, girlfriend, married, towards marriage. There's no that. Then that is a situationship, right? There's no commitment to each other, but you're going beyond what ordinary friends should do.
Okay. So if you're in a situationship, then you're getting the benefits of sex and also the benefits of other side benefits of being in a relationship, but then you're not defined and you're not public.
Yeah.
Like people don't know what you guys are up to.
Usually in a situationship, people know. There's no way you can hide it. You guys are hanging out together all the time. You guys are going out together. For example, I call Ikena, what's going on now? Half a more hang out for this. Sorry. Can we speak vernacular?
Not really, but
let's stick to pure English. Okay. So I go, Ikena, hey, what's going on? Let's meet somewhere. And then on your way, I'm like, Sher, you know what? I'll meet you. Give me 5 minutes. And then on your way, you get there, and then the person you're in the situation is coming out from the car, or is the one dropping you off. Everybody kind of knows. Everybody sees it, right? So it's not about the public side. It's actually the private side where you guys have said, look, this is what we're doing. Let's define this. What are we doing? Okay, you're my boyfriend, you're my girlfriend. This is what we're doing. And then this is committed. I'm committing myself to you and all that. And, you know, that's it. You know, you're committing to each other. But if you're not committed, you've not had that deep conversation of what are we doing, then it's a situationship, right?
So would a situationship be the point where two people, one person wants to move forward, but the other person doesn't really want to?
Yeah, absolutely. You find that a lot, and that's quite common as well. And I think it's even more common between when the man is the one that is hesitant and the woman wants to go forward. The woman wants something; she's waiting for you to ask. And she's like, and she might even hint at it, like, and this one that you've not even, you've not even asked me out, or you should drop a few hints because she's expecting that you ask her out officially to be able to say, okay, and just like put a tag to it so that you guys know what you're doing. So yes, you'll find that is quite common when one person wants to define it, but the other person is a bit hesitant and it could be for so many reasons, right? I was going to say this earlier. One of the things that causes situationships, and I think I'm jumping the gun here, but let me just go to one of the causes here. Is, for example, you're a guy that you grew up in a particular house, functional household, but you find that there's some things that happen in the marriage of your parents that you do not like. And you almost commit or make a vow to yourself that, you know what, this, for me, I would make sure that this doesn't happen, in my own marriage. And then, for example, using that same example, you find that as you grow up as an adult, you now realize that this. Let me just use something random. You find that your father is beating your mother in marriage. A very good marriage, but you find that your dad is beating your mom, and you make a vow and say, you know what, this would never happen to me. And then maybe you're in a relationship at some point that maybe didn't work out, and one of the reasons why it didn't work out was because maybe you got violent as a guy, and then you now see someone that you really like, but you're hesitant to commit, even though you like the person, you're hesitant because you're afraid that, am I going to mess this one up too? Maybe I need to go and work on myself more. And then the girl is like, we are perfect together, everything is good, but there's that skeleton in your cupboard that you've not addressed, and you see that I need to deal with this. And so because of that, you're a bit hesitant, rather than telling the lady, talking and having the conversation that it's not as if I don't want to commit myself to you, but I know I have this issue, and you're afraid that if you tell her, she's going to leave you. And so those are some of the things that could cause you to pause, or for some ladies, they don't want to commit to the guy because they've seen how a good relationship can be messed up because of things that happen in marriage. Or maybe, for example, the girl is the one that she saw her mother abused by her father, and then there's this really nice guy that is asking her out, and she likes the guy, and they're doing everything together, but she doesn't want to commit because she's just afraid, deep down inside her, she's just afraid that this guy is just going to end up being like my father and beat me up, and I don't want that to happen. So they're a bit hesitant. And in some cases, another reason that could cause it is you just want to eat your cake and have it.
Yeah.
You want to enjoy the benefits of a relationship without committing to it. That means you want to be able to escape. You've heard about some of these, like some of the things that I've talked about already, the fears of marriage and some of the adverse effects that could happen in marriage. Yeah. I I don't want that, but I want the benefits. And then because of that, you now begin to stay in a situationship and you're not defined, and the lady is waiting for you to define it, but that kind of thing.
Do you feel that men are more likely to hold a relationship hostage?
I believe so.
In a situation.
I believe so.
Okay.
I think
so why is that?
I think like apart from the examples that I gave, men, and I think it's a fear factor, and I didn't know that this existed in men until I had a conversation with a few young people some time ago, and they began to discuss that a lot of guys are just afraid. For example, societal expectation is one of the things that makes people afraid. People are afraid that people might not like the person they're dating, and and I always say this to young people: when it comes to the choice of who you spend the rest of your life with, it has to be a selfish decision. What do I mean by that? It can't be a decision that you make considering anybody other than yourself. And I'm talking about the first, when it comes to, okay, this is a person that I like. This is a person I want to spend the rest of my life with. Why do I want to spend the rest of my life with that person? There has to be. Is it because he treats me well? Is it because he does this to me first? After you have answered the me question, the selfish questions, then you can now start looking at the other people factor. Do you get? But you find that a lot of guys are considering that external factor. What will people say? oh, she's got this flaw. Because of this one flaw, I don't want to come into her, but she's really nice. She cooks really well. She takes care of me. She checks on me. You know, if I have a bad time, she's someone I can rely on. So you're enjoying the perks and the benefits of a committed relationship, but you don't want to commit because, oh, she's not really beautiful. She's not nicely curved, or she's just this one flaw and all those kind of things. So it's just, you're constantly finding excuses why you don't want to commit to the person, whereas you want to keep enjoying the benefits. So I think it's more prevalent in men. I think women are generally more understanding and generally more, you know, they look after themselves very well. And I think it's more prevalent in men. It's men that are trying to be people pleasers. That's what I think, sir.
Okay. Thank you for that. I just wanted to add here, if you just joined the stream, I see a couple of people may have joined. You're welcome to the stream. I did post a link in the chat. If you ever want to join, you could actually join us live if you want to just ask any question, to share who is here. And if you don't want to show your face as well, that's fine. But you could always, there's a link in the chat on YouTube, and I believe is also there on Facebook if you ever want to join us live, okay? So we're just going to switch gear a bit here. I watched this, I don't know if you're familiar with this love shows like Love is Blind, The Ultimatum. So The Ultimatum is like a situation where two people are in a relationship. Let's call it a situationship, actually. And then one person wants to proceed and get married, but the other person is hesitant. So the experiment, even though I don't really agree with it, is a little bit extreme. The experiment is that those couples, they will come into an environment where they will break up. They will all break up. So let's say there are 6 couples each. They will all break up, and then they would date the other people. They would date around that place to know if somebody else is better suited for them.
Okay.
And, you know, so you see a girl with a guy, and then the girl issues. So one thing I've realized is that in that setting is mostly women who issue the ultimatum. That's one thing I've observed from watching Love is Blind. I've seen a couple of situations where, the ultimatum, that's what it's called. I've seen a couple of situations where guys also issue the ultimatum, but it's more common with women to issue the ultimatum and say, hey, like, I'm giving you an ultimatum. If you don't marry me, we move on, we break up.
Right.
So they come into that place and then they break up, and then the girl may start dating somebody else who possibly may be ready to, you know, settle down. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with that show, but
I think I've seen a few clips.
Yeah, he's also affiliated with Love is Blind as well.
Right.
So the essence of that, I find that some people, when they get in that setting, they may not have been ready to get married. You see some guys, they were not ready to get married to the girl. But when they get in that setting, it's like suddenly they start dating this other person, and then they are ready. Somehow they are ready now, or maybe something in them triggers, oh, I can actually see a life with this girl instead of who I was with. So it's kind of like an interesting observation. Does that mean that people are, what is holding some people back from actually proceeding into a marriage, like a guy? Does that mean that it could be the person that they are with? Maybe if a guy is actually at the right stage in life to settle down, but he's not, and he has a girlfriend, but he's not proceeding with that girl, right? And does that mean that it's possible that he just doesn't fancy the idea of marrying that girl? You see some guys, they'll start dating somebody else, or maybe just after they break off that relationship, you see them, they'll get married the next month with another girl. Right. So I'm trying to understand that. Is it about them? Is it about the girl? What is really going on there? Is it that they don't want to proceed with this person, or what is this about?
No, that's a really good question. There are 2 angles to this. So the first angle is the people that they're in a situationship, and then they start dating somebody out there, or they see that the person they're in a situationship with is about to commit to somebody else, and all of a sudden they say, oh yeah, let's do it now. I'm ready now.
I've seen that too in the
so
show.
that's one angle. And then the other angle is people that they're they're in a situationship, they break up, and they meet somebody else, and all of a sudden they just get married to that new person. Now, for the one that they see somebody new, or the person that they're dating is about to, or they're in a situationship is about to leave them for somebody else, and they now all of a sudden decide that, oh yeah, I'm ready now. I think what happens in that situation is, like I said, you are enjoying the benefits of being with that person, but you're not committed to that person. All of a sudden, they realize that that person that they're enjoying those benefits, they're about to lose those benefits. And all of a sudden, they now realize that that thing I'm talking about, maybe she's not so bad. Though that's the reason why I wasn't dating her before. It's not so serious after that. And then all of a sudden, they're not coming because they're about to lose those benefits. And so that's what I think is the reason. The other one from the other side of things, which is they are in a situationship, the ends, and then all of a sudden they see somebody else and they marry that person. It might just be a case of the reason why they didn't commit to that person. They had reasons, and maybe those reasons were good. All of a sudden they meet somebody else that doesn't have that burden, or that extra burden or that thing, and then they realize, well, apparently, this person is not bad, and they commit to that new person. So sometimes it could be a fear of commitment, because that's actually another reason why people don't commit. There's just a fear that, I'm about to lose everything. I'm about to lose my individualness. I'm about to,
your independence, you being by yourself.
And I, remember what I said about selfishness, because the reason why you have to be selfish when you're making when it comes to the major decision of who you spend the rest of your life with, is because the moment you make that decision, it's okay, this is the person I'm committing my life to. From that time on to probably your dying days, you lose the ability to make selfish decisions. Every decision you make from that time till however long you live or you guys are together, every decision you have to consider that person. So the only time you have to make a selfish decision, how does this person treat me? How is this person committed to me? How does the person, engage with me? Does the person really love me? And then after you've answered that question, then you now begin to answer, okay, and I'm talking about making a decision and committing yourself to somebody. After you've made those selfish decisions, and the answer is, okay, everything is good, then you ask, okay, how do I add value to that person now? How do I do this? How do I do that? And then, okay, how is my family going to take it? How is this? But the priority must be you. How does the person fit into your life?
Your life.
And then after you've made all the decisions, you said, okay, this is the person I'm committing to. From that time on, you lose your ability to make selfish decisions. Every decision you make after that will be selfless, because you have to consider that person in terms of your career decision, in terms of where you spend the rest of your life with. For example, me coming to Canada wasn't a decision I made by myself. I couldn't have made that decision by myself. I had to consult her. Hey, Dale, this is what we're thinking, that kind of thing. And then we need to and if it does not align, you cannot move forward. Yeah. Do you get? So I think at the end of the whole thing, coming back to the question that you asked, I think it's a case of, honestly, sometimes you might be in a situationship, and that might actually be holding you back. For example, that person that breaks up and then goes to meet somebody else and realizes, this person is great. It can't be holding you back, and that's why it's important to define it, because it could, that's it.
Yeah. Okay. I wanted to ask you the emotional toll you feel or believe that situationships can take on young people. Being unfulfilled for a woman, for example, who is in that position, and she's giving you the benefits of, being in a marriage, but somehow she wants more, but you're not ready. You may see some guys too, he's giving the girl the benefits of being in a relationship or friendship or whatever you guys call it, even though I don't really subscribe to the idea of friendship amongst the opposite sex, that you guys are dating or more, or you just,
It has to be defined, right? Okay.
Yeah. So he's giving you those benefits and he wants more. It's obvious to the girl. The girl knows, this guy, I want marriage. I want to start a life. I want to have kids. I want to build a legacy, and he's with you. And the girl is still hesitant. I see that a lot in those shows as well. You see the girl be a little hesitant. She's not really ready to commit and all that stuff. What sort of emotional toll does this take on people? Do you, like, how fulfilled would you actually be in a situation like that, given that you know what you want, but you're not moving forward and you're also stuck in that place for a really long time? I feel like it's not an easy place to be. So at what point do you even say, I need to be out of this? And can you define the extent of the emotional pain and torture that someone could be going through being in that position for an extended period of time?
That's a good question. And I'll use myself as an example. There was a time I was in a situationship for quite a while, and it was actually, and I read this online somewhere, sometime earlier today, that breakup in a situationship can even be more harmful than if you guys had had a defined relationship.
Wow.
You know, it can be more painful because you've enjoyed, because those things, it's easier for a situationship to drag long and drag for a long time than if it's a relationship you guys are defined, you know what you want to do. And if it doesn't work out, you guys can easily say, okay, this thing doesn't look like it's going to work out. You guys can quickly nip it in the bud before it goes far. But situationship, there's nothing stopping you guys for keep extending and extending, and before you know it's for years, and you guys are in a situationship. You even go into a relationship, you start dating somebody, you leave that, you end that situationship, but it never really ends. But you cut off from that person, you go into somebody else, and then after a while, maybe you break up with that person, you come back to that situationship again, and then it becomes a cycle that you keep going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And so it can be more harmful and cause a lot of anxiety, you know, because it's not defined. You guys don't know what you're doing. In terms of how long I think you should be in it, I think immediately you see that. So, for example, a situationship can be good. What do I mean? It's like I said, it's a bridge. It becomes bad when that bridge is really long. You know, I said it's a bridge between you guys are just casual friends, regular basic friendship, and committed relationship. There's a bridge. If it's a short bridge, it's fine. As a matter of fact, almost everybody at some point you go into it. What do I mean? You see somebody, and I'm just going to use a random example. You see somebody at work, or maybe you guys attend a function together. You guys like each other. You exchange numbers. That's normal. There's nothing committed about that. And all of a sudden, you guys are exchanging numbers, and you're getting to know the person. Now, you're exchanging texts and communications with that person longer than the usual regular friendship. And that's because you're trying to get to know the person and trying to see if this person fits into your lifestyle. And then you guys you go out to dinner sometime. And that's normal, right? That's a situation. It's not defined.
Yeah.
It's beyond the regular relationship. You know, like I said, that bridge. But and then at some point, you need to make a decision. Don't let that bridge be too long. Don't let it be as long as it's the Twin Towers. Just a simple, okay, this is it. This person looks nice. You guys are nice together and everything is flowing. Define it. I want to be committed to you. I want you to be committed to me. I want us to just give it a shot. I can't make any promises in terms of marriages, but what I know is that I'm looking for someone that I can build a legacy with, like you said, married, legacy, and have kids together. And those are some of the things that I want to do. But I think we can just start with a relationship, and then we're just dating now, but we're committed to each other. And then you guys begin to have further conversations and deeper conversations and grow. But if you now leave it long, that's when it becomes a problem, where you guys are lasting months and even years, and you guys are not defined in terms of what you want to be. But personally, honestly, I think as a man, the onus is on you to be able to say, hey, what are we doing? This is what I want. And if the lady says, I'm not sure I can give that to you, then she's not the one, right?
I've seen couples who have been together for like 10 years and they are not married. So I'm trying to understand some things, because if my sister was in a relationship with a guy that they've been together for 10 years and the guy is not proposing, and then I talk to her, I don't think any girl generally would be okay with that situation. I don't know. I can't speak to the whole population of women, but I feel
generally,
generally the average woman may not be okay with
Absolutely
that.
not.
Being in a relationship for like 10 years and still, you haven't proposed. Do you think if you've dated somebody for that long, there's a possibility the man would never propose again because he's comfortable with how long you guys have been together like that? He's getting the benefits of being in a marriage,
Wow.
So, and then he doesn't want to do all this Lego stuff with you. So, do you think that man would ever propose?
So we're switching to another level of situationship now. Situationship we're talking about the part where there's no commitment, but this guy has committed to you a little in terms of a relationship, right? But he hasn't committed completely in terms of marriage. Do you get? So you're not so, but he's enjoying the benefits of marriage, and he's just in the dating phase. And the reason why we can say this is because of, I mean, our belief in terms of, look here, whatever you want to do, stay in the right, do the right thing. You know, stay with the marriage as an institution is right. Just do the right thing and just move on. I don't think I think it's. I mean, I've seen people. I've heard of people that they dated for such a long time, 5, 6, 7 years. Eventually, they got married. But my opinion, and this is just my belief based on usually once a relation, the longer a relationship lasts, the lower the chances that that thing will lead to marriage.
Really?
The longer it lasts.
Okay.
And I'm talking to people that are mature. They are in the marriage stage of their life. That means I'm not talking about high school. I'm talking about they are in the phase where both of them are maybe working class, or they are at that age of marriage, and then they are dating. The longer that dating, that relationship lasts, usually in my opinion and in my experience with other people, the longer it lasts, the lower the chance that they'll, because for you not to commit to that person, except your belief system is different from that person and you don't believe in marriage, as it were. But if you believe in marriage, both of you believe in marriage, you have the same belief system, you both want to get married at some point, then why haven't you committed? You've been dating for 1 month, 2 months, 5 months, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. What are you doing? Do you get? Then there's a problem there. So usually the likelihood that they would end up in marriage is usually really low. For me, as an example, I dated my wife for about 6 months or thereabout before I proposed to her, because I knew what I wanted. As at that time, I think I was about 20, 28 or thereabout. I knew what I wanted. I knew I wanted to get married. I was, because of my faith, I wanted to do things right, and I proposed to her, and she said, okay, yeah, and she said yes. But did we get married after 6 months? No. It took us another year of preparation for the whole marriage. So essentially, we dated for 1.5 years before we got married. Do you get? And that's good enough to know someone or to be able to commit yourself to someone.
Yes.
Do you get?
In this modern time, do you, in the modern day dating, do you believe is justifiable the way men are deciding to take a step back a bit from marriage? Do you think there is a justifiable reason? Because the average relationship, the average marriage, the average woman, average man out there, it seems like getting into something committed where you guys go to the state and then do the legal work and all that. It's been proven statistically that 50% of marriages or even more are likely to fail. And when it does, obviously you are parting ways with your assets. The stress of divorce is extreme. It's even for even for the man and the woman. I know, like, we mostly see the woman side of things and be like,
from the man's side, absolutely.
yeah, even from the man's side, the emotional toll it takes on a man is actually a lot. Even the stress of it is just too much.
Yeah, it's a
so, do you think there is any justifiable reason to why? Do you think it makes sense generally that men are being a little more cautious to marriage, and what is the solution to remove that hesitation in order to proceed with? Because I believe that some people may genuinely be in love with the partner they have right now, but maybe just for some reason or the other, due to caution, due to fear, due to a lot of Lego work that they have to do, due to finances. Obviously, the church, if you're Christian, weds you. When you're about to separate, the states hijacks it and takes over to do all that stuff. Yeah. So marriage at first can sound very exciting to a lot of people, but then, getting out of it, if it's likely to fail, is someone told me this. He said, like, if you're about to leave the house and someone told you you have a 50% chance of dying today, would you go?
That's a good question. That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah. So what is your thought on this overall? How can we help with the caution with the fear that a lot of young men face when it comes to marriage, especially the legal side of it and the side where, like, I hope I was able to throw that light on that.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying, and that's a really good way of putting it. So the question now becomes two sides to this. Number one is, what exactly are your beliefs? Number two is, what exactly do you want? Do you get? What exactly do you want? Do you want a long-term relationship? Do you want a good marriage? If you want a good marriage, then you have to be able to make the sacrifices or the in quote risks of getting a good marriage. So so that's why I say, what exactly do you want? Do you want to be married to a woman with kids? Let's forget about the adverse, what could happen, what could go wrong. The question is, what could go right? What could go right is you could be with somebody for the rest of your life, grow old together, have kids together, have grandkids together, have all the sex that you can ever possibly, your body can, can contain, have a life partner that you can discuss with, never feel alone for the rest of your life. Those are some of the perks. The fact that there's also the spiritual side of being able to pray together, being able to make decisions together, being able to, when two people commit to are able to, I'm trying very hard not to go too spiritual, but when two people commit to a project, it's easier for it to be accomplished than for one person. Those are some of the benefits of marriage. So if you want to have that, then you have to be able to say, you know what, I have to take the risk of committing to that person and taking a chance. Now, if you are afraid of your assets being split, let's just assume you're extremely rich and you're afraid that some of your assets are going to, then do a prenup. If you're that afraid, then do a prenup. Or in deciding who you spend. And that's another thing that you can do to allay the fears. Whatever it is that you're afraid of, attach the requirement to the person that that requirement to the person that you're going to spend the rest of your life with. For example, you're afraid that, this person is going to be shabby or lose their beauty after they have the first or the second kid, or something like that, or this person won't be. Then make sure one of the qualities of the person you're going to spend the rest of your life is, number one quality, because I have a fear that this person won't look good. Make sure she's the person that is maybe active, so much so that even after the baby, she's motivated to go to the gym as well. Did you get, or something like that, or someone that's really good looking? Maybe make that very important. But the thing is that the moment you begin to add those, because there are loads of qualities that you're already looking at. You're looking at someone that's good looking. You're looking at someone that is a good person in terms of character. You're looking at this. You're looking at that. You're looking at that. The moment your requirements are getting long, the likelihood of getting someone that fits that purpose is lower, right? So it's a good question in terms of people being afraid of committing themselves. But the truth is this: let's just assume that statistics actually is absolutely correct, which is 50% of marriages fail. That means 50% of marriages succeed.
Yeah.
That's it. There are two sides to it. Is it half full or half empty that you want to look at? It's perception, right, and how you look at things. For me, it's not as if I have a perfect marriage or anything, but I have a very good marriage that I'm proud of, and that's because I took my time. I didn't just jump into any marriage with someone that I saw. I took my time. I looked at a few qualities, and I said, these are the qualities that I want in a woman. And my wife had it, and Mickey, I knew that this woman had it. What am I waiting for? I committed to her. We had our issues, but we work it out. And the reason why we're able to work it out is because both of us have committed to each other that this is where we're going to stay for the rest of our lives. We're going to be committed to each other. Despite the obstacles and all that, we stay committed. So if you're afraid of commitment, then you might as well be afraid of getting the perks of commitment, right? So if you say, I'm afraid, women are out there, these women are these days, then believe me, women are looking at men who are saying these men are out there, these men are just terrible. They just want to use you and dump you and stuff like that too. So if you find someone that is good, then what are you waiting for? Just commit to the person and just trust God. And of course, do your prayers and all that, and trust that you're making the right commitment. And if you see red flags, and I always figure it out. And I always tell people, when you see red flags, make sure you address those red flags, because that's another thing that people say. If, for example, for a woman to say she wants to take half of your wealth, that maybe she didn't work for, you guys got married, you were rich before you got married, and there will be some red flags that you must have seen that you ignored. The way she's frivolous, lavish with money, or the way she treats money, or the way she does something. There'll be. Make sure if you see red flags. I would never say that because of a red flag you should break up with someone. But if you see a red flag, make sure that red flag is addressed. Don't say, I'm in love. It's so perfect. No. Or they will change. If your values don't align, they don't align. If you see a red flag, make sure it's addressed. Bring it up and discuss it. So that's what. If you're afraid of committing, then you might as well not get it. You might as well
Yeah.
not get the benefits of a good marriage, right?
Absolutely. I wanted to. I know you touched on this a little bit before, but I was wondering why you think people stay in situationships even when they feel like unfulfilled about their future. They don't know where this is going. Let's say, especially the person who wanted to move forward. The last episode of that show I was telling you about, which is the ultimatum, I saw this particular guy had issued an ultimatum to the girl. He's actually much older and she's a little much younger. Issued an ultimatum to her, but she's been hesitant right from time to get married to him. Yet he was there hoping and believing that she would one day change her mind. Another flip side of this is what would be the consequences of actually trying to pressure somebody into marrying you, into progressing with you to a future, when that person is a little hesitant. Because I feel that two people should, if two of you are ready to get married, then and you want each other, then it will be something that will naturally happen, and you both of you would desire that. But if one person is a little hesitant, there's something about humans that we always want that thing that doesn't really want us. We
Absolutely.
so
That's a full conversation.
I'm trying to. I don't know why some guys are hung on a girl who doesn't want them. Like you're in a situationship, semi relationship, whatever you want to call it, with a girl, and then somehow she's not ready to take things to the next level. And you can tell, but for some reason, you're hung on her. You insist that she's the one for you. Some girls also are in that position where this guy is not really too serious, but she's hung on that particular guy. She says, this guy is the person I want to spend my life with. Even when maybe the signs are there, her friends are telling her, people are telling her, hey, like, this person is not ready. You guys have been together for this long. So I'm just trying to understand, like, why people, often stay too
long.
Yeah.
I think you're right. People often stay long because they don't want to force the person to make a decision, and that's because they're afraid of losing the person. So and there's honestly, it's such a the thing you said about people wanting what they cannot have. It's like, is that forbidden fruit? It's like, for those that are Christians and know the Bible, Eve had this fruit that they said you cannot have it. You can have everything else, but you cannot have that fruit. And that's the one fruit that she went for, and she made sure she got it. It's a similar thing to Joseph and the wife of his master. She just wanted him, and I think that's human nature. Usually, maybe because of the way we're brought up or the way we're wired, that thing that we shouldn't have, we just strongly desire it for some weird reason, But the reason why I believe people don't commit, or they don't want to push, or the risk that is associated with pushing and making sure it's defined, is that you're afraid of losing the person, and that's usually what happens. But I think it's better for you to not push, maybe push is a strong word, but define it. If you've been with someone together for a while, you need to be able to say, hey, we've been together for a while. What are we doing? What are we doing? And define it and say, this is, well, if we're not going to work, then let's just move apart. Let's just stay away from each other and cut off relationships and move on. That's fine. Because if you're not going to commit to me, if you have reservations, then tell me about the reservations. Why? Tell me why you have reservations or why you're hesitant.
That's usually not an easy position to be
Absolutely
in. Like,
not.
With because I feel like you're emotionally attached as
to the
well.
person.
Like, how
Absolutely.
do you actually put that boundary and say, hey, we're done, and you put a limited? I even know so many people who may have broken up, but somehow they may still keep in touch or talk.
Absolutely. And that's the
They are just cutting.
The relationship continues. Like somebody said to me, and this said to me quite a while back, I think I was still a teenager at the time, and the person said, if a relationship is not defined, it is prone to abuse. And so the reason why it's important to define it is you are free. You don't want it to be abused. That relationship is prone to abuse. Because what would happen is that you're wasting away your life. I don't know if you've heard this term. People always say time is money. Time is money. You can't keep wasting time because time is actually the currency of life that we spend. Because once you lose it, you can never get it back again. All the people that you see that are billionaires and are extremely rich out there, the reason why they are where they are, or people that are fulfilled in life, even if they're not billionaires, people that are fulfilled in life, is because they spend their time adequately. And so if there's anything, it's better to waste money than to waste your life, to waste your time. That's how time is so precious, because if you lose money, you can get it back. But if you lose your time, you can never get it back. For example, the reason why you have this great studio and this great setup here is because you spend quality time setting this up. And that's because your time is valuable. Do you get? Can you imagine if somebody takes away all the time that you spend setting up the cameras, the mics, and everything? Somebody takes that away from you. It would feel like they're taking away your life.
Absolutely.
Because you spend so much time to it. And so that's the importance of time. And that's why it's so important that you don't waste it. You don't allow somebody else waste it. Why should you be in a relationship with someone that is not ready to commit to you? Sit down. And I had to make that decision. There were points in my life, even when I was a teenager, where, I like this person, but I knew this was not going anywhere. And I just said, you know what? I know this is not going anywhere. And you take a step back, and it's hurtful. It's painful because you're committed to this person and you've enjoyed some benefits and some perks. Yeah. So I'll never say it's an easy decision. It's usually hard. As a matter of fact, like I said, it's even harder to break a situationship than it is harder to break a relationship. I remember when I had to break a situationship in my life, extremely hard, because you know this person, you've been to this person for such a long time, and so all of a sudden you're saying this person will not be in my life anymore. It's such a hard thing, but it's one that you have to do. If I didn't break that situationship up, maybe I won't be here today. Maybe I'll just be a young bachelor, just floating around hoping that she'll come back to me or she'll commit to me and all that. If a woman is not ready to commit to you, then what are you doing there?
As a young man, you would definitely advise young men, like, if a woman is not ready, just bring yourself together and move on.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, get out of that relationship.
So if she's not committing to you, there are some times when a woman is not committing to you because she wants you to chase. That's different from she's just said no to you. Maybe you guys have been friends and all of a sudden you're exchanging numbers and communication is going on. You're priority to her compared to other men. And then you ask her out and she says, no, I'm not ready yet. I've got my school. I need to prioritize my academics, my relationship with God or stuff like that. I don't want anything that will distract it. At that point, you know that she gives you more time and attention than anybody else. So you are priority when it comes to other men. So at that time, she just doesn't want to commit. Not because you are bad, she's just not ready yet. So maybe that is she wants you to chase. So you do your thing. Oh, she said no. Okay, no problem. We're still dating. I'm going out on dates and doing stuff together. Then at some point you bring up the question again, and then you chase, and then you chase, and then you chase. And hopefully at some point she says yes. But if it's a situation whereby at that point you are not number one. I remember a particular girl like that I had met, and I really liked her because I thought she was cool. And we exchanged numbers and we exchanged communications. And on a particular day she asked me to. I told her, hey, are you at home? And she says, yes. And I said, oh, can I come see her? And she said, yes. And I get there and I see another guy there that came to see her.
Oh, wow.
Do you get? What that tells me immediately is that you are not priority to this girl. Yeah. You are just another guy. You're just another, like they always say, another fish in the pond. That she's, I didn't even need to ask her out. The minute I saw that, look here, if despite all the time that we spent together, all the commitments, all the we hung out together a few times there, exchanged a few texts and all that, and the nice things and all that. I'm not priority to this girl. I'm just another guy amongst the long list of guys that are asking her out.
Yeah.
Do you get? Now, for some other people, they will keep pushing, and maybe that's just them. But one part of me, there's a small pride that I carry on my shoulder.
Yeah, and I think a lot of men should carry that sort of pride, right?
So, but you say, oh, this girl is she's so fine, and Ikena, let me tell you, this girl was fine. Let me just say it out there. Let's just not. She's stunning looking girl, But I just said, I know where I am. I've defined my own relationship with this girl already, and I know that I'm just another guy on the list. Guy. I'm just another guy on the list. Now, some people might say, no, don't give up like that. You have to be a man, chase. And you will chase. But in your chasing and you would know where you are, where you stand in terms of cadres, in terms of where you are with her. If you know that you are right up there, and she has said no, but you can do the chasing and all that. But if you're just, despite all your commitment and she's not going to commit to you.
Yeah.
Do you get? And you ask her, she said no. You know that no is a no. Do you get? You're not priority. So what are you wasting your time for?
Yeah.
Time is precious. Move on. Just step back.
It's generally a difficult position for a lot of men and a lot of women. Like I always thought women find themselves in that position more, and I still believe maybe they do. But looking at some trends, looking at what's happening out there, talking to a lot of guys, I find that there's also men who are in that position, where the woman is the one holding the relationship hostage. She's like, I'm not ready yet. You know, if you want to do all these things, get married, have children, give me some time. You know, so how much time can a guy actually give to a girl before and the other way around? How much time can you ever give to somebody? For me, I personally believe that if you've been together for almost a year, and in that year you've always known that you want to settle down as a man, and maybe you had a little more time, because some men may be a little much older and they just want to settle down right now. But if you're still young, maybe like 30, 32, whatever, and you give her like 6 months or, you know, a couple months or almost a year, which is really long in my opinion, but depending on how much you love the girl, and she's still there where what are we saying here? Should you still be giving time to this girl, or should you just like, you know, gather yourself together and move on? Because
I think the answer to that question is relative to the person.
Yeah.
So, for example, your young guy just finished university or high school or college or something, and there's a girl that you really like, and you guys are together, and there's a level of she's committed a little to you, but she's not giving you all. Then you've got a little time, right? Maybe a young, say for example, you want to get married when you're 30 and you're still 23, 24. She's not really committed to you. You have time in that sphere of your life, on that space of your life. You can afford to give it a little time. Yeah. But really, at the end of the whole thing, what defines how much time you should give it is how much time you have to spare. Because you must value your time and say, okay, this relationship, where is it going? You know, you've asked her out, she said no, you've asked for, maybe she's even said yes and you're dating, but she doesn't want to move to the next phase, which is marriage and all that. And you've tried to push it a little bit, you've tried to ask, and then maybe the first question you want to ask is, ask questions. Why? Why are you hesitant? Why don't you want to commit to me? Why don't you want
do you think these girls would actually tell you the truth? If you ask her why she's not ready, do you think they actually speak the truth from their heart and tell you the reason?
So if you're dating somebody and we're talking, you're dating a good person, if they cannot tell you the truth, that's a problem. That's a red flag already. Why they won't tell you the truth? Just because what will make you come? If it could be a fear thing, maybe she's afraid, or maybe there are red flags, or there are things about you that you need to work on. Yeah. You know, so maybe she has told you directly or indirectly, but she should be able to tell you and communicate to you that this is one of the, because like I always tell people, one of the most important parts of marriage is communication. You should be able to hack communication. If you cannot hack communication, you're going to have a lot of problems. So one of the things that is important or primary, pivotal in a relationship is communication. And so one of the ways to learn it is, even at the dating phase, you should be able to communicate very well. As I think you should, especially if you're dating someone that is good and you want to marry someone that's good. You're not just picking up someone from the street randomly. Then she should be able to.
Let's say some people you are together, right? And you've been dating for a while, and maybe the girl for some reason doesn't really find you that attractive. Okay, but you do other things. You provide, you have money, but maybe somehow something in her doesn't really find you that desirable, like physically desirable. So, and then you ask her, do you think she's gonna tell you that? I'm just wondering, like, how's she gonna put?
You make a very good
point. That point to you.
You make a very good point in terms of In that case, maybe she doesn't want to say it, but honestly, if good looks is that important to her, then she should be ready to let go of you. If good looks is that, if you would choose not to marry someone because they're not as good, believe me, every guy in this world, in their mind when they were young, wanted to get married to the most beautiful girl in the world. Every guy, and every girl growing up wanted to marry Tom Hanks, or all the most stunning, the most handsome man in the world. Everybody, there's nobody that I know of that growing up they just wanted to marry someone that was ugly.
Yeah.
That's just a bit twisted. I mean, there are people that maybe find that attractive in its sense, but I mean, I'm talking generally now. Everybody wants to marry the most beautiful or the most handsome person in the world. And if you don't find that person, but you find other qualities, and that person is not so bad, then you settle, right? You compromise. But if she's not willing to compromise because of your looks, then you're probably better off without that person, So yes, you're right that she might not be able to, she might not tell you, she might look for a flimsy reason or flimsy excuse. But that's probably the reason why you should end the whole thing and just move on with yourself. That kind of thing. Because she's just eating a cake and not and doesn't eat like it and wants to have it.
I mean, that's a trait that's common with a lot of people who just want to like eat their cake and have it. But we would guys, if you are on live with us, once again, you are welcome. We are discussing on the rise of situationships. If marriage is still an option for a lot of young men, and if you have joined us live, you're welcome. You can always, I put a link in the chat on YouTube, and this is the first time we're actually streaming simultaneously on Facebook. So actually, I should put the link there on Facebook as well if there was anybody who wanted to just call for something. So I put the link as well on Facebook, but obviously our concentration is, I think the link is already on Facebook. Our concentration is YouTube. So if you're on YouTube or Facebook Live, I'm here with Chair, and we're discussing the rise of situationships among young people. A lot of young men are caught in a position where they're with someone, but they are not proceeding with the marriage or with the relationship. Maybe the girl wants more, but he doesn't want more due to a couple of reasons. Maybe money related. A lot of men use the excuse. This is another question I actually want to ask you. Let me direct this to you. A lot of men use the excuse of money to not settle down yet. So they're in a relationship and they're like, I still need to make some money. I need to work. I need to do this. I need to achieve this. I need to do that before I settle down. What do you think about that? Because I've seen guys who give one girl that excuse, but with the next girl, they didn't make that excuse. I'm always wondering. So I'm trying to understand. What do you think of that excuse? Is it genuinely valid that some men at the base of their heart want to just make money first and be better positioned to take care of a woman, to take care of their children incoming, or are they just using that as a worthy excuse to not commit?
Okay. I think if you look at it very well, there's some people that maybe that's actually a good reason for them. Maybe because of the way they grew up or their background or something, they just don't want to mess up. However, what I would usually tell people is this: if you really find someone that is precious and you really want to spend the rest of your life with, why would you use that as an excuse? It just means you have to start from little beginnings. That's one of the problems that I find with people. Everybody wants to start with a lifestyle. You want to get married, and after getting married to her, you want to move to a nice flat in a nice apartment in downtown Toronto, and then from downtown Toronto, you want to move to a nice house in Oakville. And okay, for those that are not in Canada, for those downtown Toronto is like highbrow area, and then after that, you want to buy a house in Oakville or Mississauga or something. And that's not the story of some people. So sometimes you have to start from a smaller, area or something like that, or an area that is not as promising, or settle for less, or start small. And that's one of the things that people don't want to do. People don't want to start small. They just want to start big, I know that. But if you find that, like you said, that guy gave the excuse that, I don't have finances yet. All of a sudden he moves to the next girl, and all of a sudden that those finances were not really a problem. What I tell people is this: look here, if you find someone that you want to spend the rest of your life with, and you are the right age, and you have plans for yourself, then you can plan around it. I know of a couple that they got married in church, and as people were leaving the church, they just handed them their bags of takeaway packs in church and said, "Thank you for coming." Why? Because there was no reception. They didn't have a reception. They couldn't afford it. But they were honest enough to be able to do that for themselves because they couldn't afford a reception. And this was like, I'm talking about 10 years ago. So it's not like this was it. This was when everybody was doing a reception, but they couldn't afford a reception. Right now, speaking to you, both of them are in the UK and they have a good life and they're chilling, got two kids, and they're doing very well. So your marriage is not more, your marriage that had a reception is not more important than your marriage. So sometimes you have to start small. But like you said, for that person, maybe that money was just an excuse to not be able to come into that person. But it's actually a reason why people are afraid, because they're waiting to make a lot of money. But what I tell young people is this: don't, and I think the roots of this is societal expectation. You want to have a married wedding. You have to have a big wedding. You want people to know that you have arrived.
Yeah.
You want to have that kind of thing and have a lavish wedding.
Yeah.
I mean, for the people of Asian descent, their weddings are huge. It's a big traditional thing. Yeah. Sometimes it lasts a week. I didn't know that, but for some people, it's like a whole week of activities, and everybody's doing it. Your neighbor did it, your neighbor's child did it. Everybody's doing
pressure
it.
is
And
there,
because of it, you're waiting to make all the money in the world and commit all that money to a wedding. For myself and my wife, we didn't do more than ourselves. We just had a nice, simple wedding and all that. It was my family that made the wedding bigger. Left to us, we're just going to make a simple wedding. And the people that made the wedding bigger were the people that spent the extra money. Do you get? But for me, we just had a nice, simple wedding coming to ourselves. So if you find someone that's saying, the reason why I don't want to commit to you, if you're a lady and the guy is saying, well, the reason why I don't want to commit to you is because I don't have enough money yet, then you now begin to ask further conversations. So what exactly is it that you need the money for? This money that you're talking about, what do you need the money for?
Yeah.
I need to build a big house. Oh, that's a problem there. Why don't we start small? And if he says no, that's not how things are done. Well, one of the things they're telling, because what money does is that money helps you create a perception of wealth.
Yeah.
The perception that you're doing well, so that people outside will see that you're doing well.
Yes.
You get? So
absolutely.
What that tells me is that this person prioritizes societal expectations
more,
even exactly more than you. Do you get? So those are red flags that you need to make sure you address. And honestly, that is the reason why you may not even want to be able to comment. So that's good enough reason to end a relationship with someone.
Absolutely. I have someone call in. I believe I was going to call here. Let me see if I can put you up on. I see Charles. Let me see if I can put you on our stream here. Just give me 1 second. I still have you share on the line. So, Charles, can you hear me?
What the hell?
I can't hear you for some reason. I know you're on live right now, but we should be able to hear you, but somehow we cannot.
That's crazy.
Once I hear you, I believe you have something you want to ask us. So maybe I need to put this.
Can you hear me now?
Okay. Share, we need to see you as well.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I've got the stream running here so I can see.
Oh, okay, that's great. That's great. That's great. Charles, your audio is not coming in yet. No, it's not.
Can you hear me now? Oh, bet. Can you hear me now?
It didn't come in, so we'll probably keep streaming. He will try to call us back again.
Okay,
I think he's calling again. So let's see if he's gonna come in this time.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
He's still not coming in, bro.
What's crazy? That's crazy. I don't know why.
You're still not coming in. I can't hear you. And I don't believe is on our end.
If you see the setup here, you know it's not on our end.
I don't believe it's on our end. So you can try again. I mean, I can take a look at a couple settings here just to be sure, but I don't think it's on our end. Okay. Let me try again. Let's see here.
Can you hear me?
No, we can't
Nope.
hear you. Guys, just
Oh,
be
sorry.
patient with us if you're on the live stream. We're just waiting for the caller's audio to come in. Why don't you
That's
try without
crazy.
just try with your normal phone speaker.
Okay.
See if that works. Yeah. See if that works. Let's try
Can you hear?
that.
All right.
Okay, he's gonna call back. Just be patient with us if you're on the stream. Oh. I think someone in the chat said they can hear it. But we couldn't. Oh,
Interesting.
okay. Okay, I think I might know why. Let him call again. Let's see. Someone in the chat said they can hear him. But we couldn't. Interesting. Guys, if you're live with us, exercise a little patience. I think someone is just calling in between. So let's see. That call is better. We just take that call and get it.
Get it fixed.
Yeah. Wow, someone in the chat said they could hear. So let me, because I don't want to ask you anything now. And then, okay, he's calling again. Let's see.
If it'll work.
Let's see. Yes.
So can you hear me or no? Because you said
Are you still there? Okay,
someone
1
online could
second.
hear me, but I don't know.
Can you talk?
I'm talking.
I think it was our volume on this side. All right, we can
So
hear
you can
you.
hear me?
Yes, I can hear you perfectly. And Shaya is here as well on the stream. This is Charles Osweke. Yeah, okay, great. So some people in the chat say they can hear. Okay. Charles, do you need to speak to? Okay, I'm gonna switch to Shaya.
Yeah.
He has some music. How can we help? Yeah, go ahead.
Actually,
Did you disconnect again? This brother is having a lot of technical issues. Okay. I'm gonna go back to our normal default scene. Okay, we're gonna give you another chance. I don't know what's going on. With
you
your
said
stream.
another chat.
Okay,
Can
okay,
you
we
hear
can
me
hear
now?
you perfectly.
Yeah, we
Yes,
can hear you.
please.
All right, cool.
Mm.
You all need to work on your technical support.
I'm the IT. Share is disappointed.
Call your IT guy. Call your IT guy.
Yeah, go ahead.
Pretty interesting takes. I don't agree with most of it, to be honest. I'm an unconventional gentleman. But something interesting you talked about quite recently. You said things when it comes to finances, right? When you talk about wealth, start small, do this, do that, right? And if you're wanting to be more balanced, more settled within yourself as an individual, then it's probably because you're thinking of what society thinks, right? More than anything. And by the way, I'm in the kitchen. I'm cutting tomatoes. I'm about to make a mighty fine steak.
Nice one.
This I just I just had to call it out. So you talked about society when it comes to the guise of wealth and a man or a woman wanting to, be more financially independent before they get in a serious relationship. But then you evade that same mindset or that same perception when it comes to them wanting to be in a situationship, like in terms of society, right? Because we're very exposed to a lot, right? Especially in the Western world, that there could be reasons or perspectives of society expectations for one to get in a relationship or to have a partner, and society expects the next step to be marriage, right? oh,
Yeah.
hey, we're friends, we're dating,
Mm-hmm.
we're now exclusive, it's just me and you, and then oh, it's what's next after it's just me and you. Now we're living together. We should get married. Isn't that something that most of society through time and even now, maybe now more so, continues to put on both men and women? Like, hey, you meet someone, you like them, you want to commit to them, you want to be exclusive, and this is speaking from a monogamous like monogamy, right? Because there's
Right.
still a different different spectrum, people that have multiple partners, people that are in
Mm-hmm.
polygamy. I
Mm-hmm.
have a couple family members that have one side or the other, but just keeping that variable constant, which is monogamy. We were talking about monogamy, right?
Right. Right.
And society. So yeah, hopefully that kind of clarity. You kind of debate to, oh, when it comes to society's expectation is that you date someone, you become exclusive, the next step after all that is marriage. Isn't that society's expectation?
Right.
um, as well? When it then comes to wealth, you're like, you're thinking about what society has to say about your pockets. But then when it comes to relationship, you're not thinking about what society has to say about how you live your life. So I just thought that'd be an interesting question.
No, that's a fantastic question, and thanks, Charles. Right, thanks for bringing it up.
Cool.
Yeah. Here's my response. And it's a good take, really. The way you really put it, out, and you're not wrong in terms of that. But there are different aspects. Now, a few things that I said is this: what exactly is it that you want? Now, you'd notice that when I said you should commit to someone and marriage is a good thing, I didn't talk about societal expectation. And and the reason why I said that is because I said if you look at what you should always ask yourself, what exactly is it that you want? What do you want? You want a woman that you can spend the rest of your life with. You want to have kids. You want to build a future. You want to build a legacy. You want to do some of those things, And so, if the answer is yes, then the pathway to that is marriage. And again, it's important that I emphasize that my belief system is that of Christianity, right? And so that is what Christianity teaches. And so because of that, that is why, not because of societal expectation. One of the things that you find in this world that we live in, especially amongst younger people, is that living your life based on societal expectations is just setting yourself up for disappointment.
Yeah.
Because no matter what, or no matter the standard that you put out for yourself, people would always have questions. People would always feel like, oh, you're not doing enough. Can't you do this? For example, if you look at that marriage thing that we're talking about now, oh, you're married. Okay, when is the child going to come? Why didn't you have a child yet? And then you have a child. Well, when are you going to buy your house? And then you buy your house. Well, don't you think you should buy a bigger house?
Yeah.
And then don't you think you should buy a better car? Don't you think, because society would always have expectations that so I see what the point that you're making in terms of society. But however, my reason for asking people to not be afraid to get married is not because of societal expectation. My reason is because you have a goal, you have a target. You want to get married, you want to have kids, you want to have a legacy, you want to have a life partner that you're going to spend the rest of your life with. And the best bracket or the best institution to do that in is the family or the marriage institution. That's the reason why I would say, and that's why I push that agenda of don't be afraid of commitment. If you find someone that you want to spend the rest of it, do the right thing. Meaning you've asked the right question, whether this person is the right fit for you. And if the answer is yes to everything, then there's really no reason for you to sit down and wait. And I don't know if that makes any sense, Charles. Are you still there?
Charles.
Yeah, I'm still here. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, no, definitely, it definitely makes sense. And no,
Do you hear? Do you
no,
hear
I'm
buzzing
not.
sound?
Yeah, I do. Where the
Okay.
heck is that from?
Okay. Don't worry. Go ahead.
Call your
We're
IT
gonna fix
guy.
it.
Don't worry, the IT guy is a new intern. I promise you, we're going to ask the person. We're firing the person intern immediately.
We're gonna fix that. Don't
Tracking
worry.
on that.
If
Tracking,
you can hear the
tracking. All
buzzing
right.
sound, just be patient with us.
Hopefully they
There.
don't hear it on the other side.
I think they do. Go ahead.
Okay. So what I was gonna say is, yeah, I'm not against your perspective. And I think that's one of the biggest things you said is this is your perspective. This is based on your culture. This is based on your religion, right? I
Right.
know everyone is a cultural, religious person, and they all have different guises. And you're definitely having outstanding opinions. outstanding guidance for both men and women. I think that's very informative. I appreciate the feedback. I guess the rebuff that I would have on that is just not agreeing all the way through, which is
Right.
fine, right? Agree to disagree. And
Yeah.
a portion of that is the way to essentially, you talked about wealth building together, you talked about legacy and all. Most of those things don't necessarily have to be predisposed to being in a relationship or building a family. Yeah, legacy if that's your interest. And before I forget, you talked about what's the other big point is you mentioned what you want, right? What a person wants. And
Right.
very often now in society, just because of access we have, especially in society where I can meet someone in Vietnam, I can meet someone in the Philippines, I can meet someone in Germany that may share the same perspectives, the same thoughts, the same themes that I have, right? And
Right.
it doesn't always have to equate to, all right, we're gonna be together and then we're gonna get married, and that will lead us to the focus of, oh, we want to make money, oh, we want to have kids, or we want to build a legacy, etc. Sometimes it can be, oh, I'm looking for a partner, I'm looking for a friend who I will build my life with, who might get into a position of marriage if that
Mm-hmm.
happens, if that's what we get to.
Right.
Prenuptial, don't forget to prenup. um
I see you,
and
Charles. I see you.
and that grows, and then some people's lives may not be focused on wealth. They may be
Mm.
they may be focused on building a legacy and a bunch of other things related
Mm-hmm.
to that, but wealth and money and things like that again are more societal constructs, may not be their primary objectives, right? I might want a
Right.
partner that I'll have an interesting life with, I'll travel with, or I'll go off the grid with, and we live somewhere in the New Mexico desert, or somewhere off the grid,
Mm-hmm.
and go. So I try to think of things that way, right?
Absolutely.
And again, it's not a rebuff to what you said. It's just kind of like a different perspective.
Perception. Absolutely. And I appreciate that, Yeah.
one Hundred
At the,
percent.
at the end of the whole thing, it's about what you want, you know,
Yeah.
and your core values and your beliefs as well. So that's it, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Totally agree on what you want at the core. But thank you, man. I appreciate the feedback.
And thank you, Charles. Thanks for connecting. Thanks for calling in. Appreciate it.
Legitimate.
Charles,
Bye.
do you have any other questions for us?
If I ask a question, I'll ask you, Blackie, the
What is the
host.
question? What is the question you have? I'm still getting that feedback
So,
noise.
are you against situationships? This is an open-ended question.
If I'm against situationships,
Yes. And
uh,
why? And what's your reason? If it's yes or no, what's your reason there?
okay.
And I know,
So
yeah, I'll just keep it that way.
yeah, go ahead. I'm still trying to understand
I
where
was gonna
this noise is
say
coming from.
that's crazy. IT
Yeah,
guy sucks.
Our lesson intern go.
yeah, it just came out from nowhere. But go ahead.
Yeah. Are you against relationships or for relationships? It's kind of like a yes or no, and then why on each spectrum, on either side.
Uh, well, for me, situationships, I think it's not the most ideal position for any young person. Um, because give me one sec here. I'll fix this sound quickly. I think Shaya would do a little bit justice to that question while I fix this up.
Okay, so that we don't, let me just, I think I've made my own perception or my perspective quite clear. We'll just wait for Ikena to give us his own. But I think it's just a question of why would you, except you don't believe in the institution of marriage. The question would be, why do you want to be in a situationship, right? If that's your belief system where you don't believe in marriage, you believe you can achieve everything else. My question to you is, how many people out there do you see that? Oh, Charles, I think we can hear a lot of water.
My
What's
bad.
up? Oh, okay, yeah. So, and I think the question is, if you look out there, how many people do you see out there that are in situationships and they're happy, or have grown in that situationship and it has worked out for them? How many? I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but how many? Do you get? So if the statistics is low, then why do you want to? That means it's high risk, right? Whereas we're talking about marriage and we're talking 50-50%, right? Looking at the world outreach, right? We're talking about 50% have worked, 50% have failed. that's a better probability, right? So my perception is you don't want to be in a situationship, really. It just doesn't quite work. If you want to be, if you don't believe in marriage and you're then do the partnership thing that people do, right? Do you get? If you're not maybe a Christian or a believer and all that, but you don't maybe believe in marriage as a do, then do the partnership part, right? Where you are committed to that person. You've just not done the whole go to church and do marriage vows things, but everything else you guys are committed to each other. It's just that you both know that either of you can walk out whenever you feel like. That's just the flip side to it. So that's it. Are you good now? Okay, it's still there.
Yeah, we're getting a little bit of feedback noise. I'm gonna put Charles or mute Charles here. You were saying something,
Yeah.
Charles. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I would say, I mean, I haven't like kind of proposed that, oh, I am for situationships or whatever. It's just a thought around what you are talking about specifically in
Right.
society.
Mm-hmm.
And I think no one really walks into, I mean, I don't know, and just using America or even just Texas, right? I wouldn't say, or I would say, at least in my experience, directly and indirectly, that people get into something and they're like, oh, let's get into a situationship, right? It's kind of one of those things that just happens, or you
right.
find yourself in, right? And then, it just happens, right? And you're there. In terms of being for or against it, it's just because it just happens. I can't really say I'm for or against it, right? Because for me personally, I'm more about the experience and being in the now, and that now, and to the point you made, like, what you want and what you're looking for, and you present that. And
Right.
if you're looking in, and if you're in the monogamous space and monogamous relationships, then some of those things may align with you. But if it's not, you talked about having domestic partners and all these other different styles of relationships or flavors of relationships that could exist. People find extreme happiness in them, right? And happiness is relative, right? But sticking to the theme of situationships, of relationship, of marriage, a lot of the points are valid, and they're justifiable, to varying degrees. And I think one of the things that's affecting your white noise or static is the volume from one side, because I see my volume spiking all the way to the right. So
Yeah.
just a bit, but yeah, thank
I
you
see.
guys.
I see your volume, but yeah, because I noticed the noise kind of started when you joined the call, but
Yeah.
that's fine anyways. So for me, you were asking my opinion on situationships. I've obviously been in,
Obviously. I mean, the keyword.
I've obviously been in a situationship before. I think most young men have, especially growing up. You're gonna find yourself in that position where you are stuck in a relationship where you are getting the benefits of being with a woman, and you are also giving her some benefits, but you are not ready to proceed into a marriage. Many young men found themselves in that situation before they actually even settled down.
Right.
So situationship is really common. And for me, the definition of a situationship, just like Shaya even talked about it already earlier in the conversation, is just being in something that, you guys are neither moving forward with the relationship, especially if one person wants to proceed. If the girl wants to go ahead or the guy wants to go ahead, but one person is not ready yet, then that's a situationship. A typical situationship is like the ultimatum, for example. That's sure if you've ever seen it, Charles. That's like a guy issuing the girl an ultimatum, or the girl issuing the guy an ultimatum, saying, "Oh, like I want to get married. I want to start a life right now with you. If you're not ready, let me know. Let's end this whole thing and get out." But for me, I think if you find yourself in a situationship and you are the one holding the relationship hostage, then I think you should do the right thing and let the woman go. No matter how much you love her, no matter how much you feel for her. Yeah, I don't know why. I see you laughing. Wait, are you muted?
I muted myself
Oh,
because I
okay.
said love.
Okay.
Oh, you.
A lot of people are in love. Okay, if you're in love and you don't find yourself moving forward with the girl, for some reason, one reason or the other, maybe she's not that attractive to you, or maybe she has one flaw or the other. Maybe you're not too proud of her. Maybe you are not feeling her, that much. There's so many reasons guys hold on to a woman who they know deep down inside them, like I don't want to commit to this person. We're not going anywhere.
Yeah. So then,
Yeah, many guys know we're not going anywhere, but for some reason they stay with the girl because they are getting some benefits from that woman, right? The woman
what's the
is
difference between being in a situationship and having a friends with benefits?
what?
What's the
What?
difference
No, no,
between
no,
being in
no.
a situation?
Share can tell you the difference between that. I can share a lot of things with you, but I will leave it to share to tell you a little bit more.
That would be my last question before I dip.
yeah. So friends with benefits
I'm
is
very
defined.
provocative.
No, no, that's fine. That's a definition, right? That's a defined relationship. You are just friends with benefits. That's the definition, right? But if
To
you
the man.
if you're just in the limbo where you know both of, if it's friends with benefits, which I don't advocate, then both of you know what you're in there for. It's defined. There's no commitment, nothing. You just want to get the benefits and walk away. Do you get? I mean, I don't advocate it, but it's defined. It's not a situationship. A situationship means you guys are just in the limbo. You're not defined. You guys are just doing this, doing that, and this person, and then the other person saying, what are we doing? What exactly are we doing? Define it, or let's end it, right? So that's it. I think that's the difference.
Absolutely. So like friends with benefits is already defined. You guys know what you're doing. Except obviously someone along the line somewhere is probably gonna catch feelings.
Yeah.
I was about to say you're gonna say that.
I didn't know you that then.
You were gonna
Thank
say
you.
that.
But it's true though. Someone's gonna catch feelings. There's no way you can date someone
No,
for
no,
a
for
long
sure.
time or be in a friends with benefits situation where you guys are strictly sleeping together and not
That's
fall in love.
and that's why I don't advocate it, because it's not realistic, right? You're enjoying the benefits of marriage, which is sleeping together, and you don't want to commit to it.
Yeah.
At some points, like you said, Charles, somebody's gonna catch feelings. Somebody's going to be like, "Well, what are we doing? Why are you with that guy longer or that girl longer than usual? Or who is that girl?" And before you know it, it just breeds a mess, right? Yeah. So that's my thoughts, really.
Absolutely. So like for me, situationships, if you, like I said, if you know the girl wants more, but you are not ready to give her more. By more, meaning she wants you to strictly commit to her, not look anywhere else, not be with anyone else, and marry her, like settle down with her. If you know deep down she wants this thing, some girls will not outrightly tell you, like, oh, this is what I want. They won't tell you straight up. They would imply it here and there. Like I said, I know some people who've been in a relationship for 10 years together. You can't tell me as a guy that you don't know this girl does not want to marry you. You can't tell me that and I'll believe you. You know, even
or
5 years.
or this
Go ahead.
guy. It could be a girl or a guy.
What the?
It could be a girl or a guy. I
What are
mean,
you
it could be
saying?
the guy holding or the girl
You
holding.
can't tell me that this girl, because she's gonna chip in those things here and there. She's gonna chip in some clues here and there, say some things here and there, even make some jokes here and there. So you know obviously that she wants more. And if you know you're at that position where you don't want to give her more, you can't give more right now, you let her know, I can't give more right now.
Yeah.
After you tell her, you ask her for a response on that, how she feels, how does she feel about it. I'm telling you, most women who love you will still be optimistic. They'll still say, oh no, I don't mind, and all that stuff. They could say a lot of things. But at the end of the day, I believe that you should end a relationship like that. If you know she wants more in the moment and you cannot give her more, and you see that in a year plus even, you won't still be able to give her more, then end the relationship like that. That's my own advice. Don't take advantage of a woman you know wants to get more from you, but you're not ready. You're not at that point to give her more. I hope that was
Awesome
able to
thoughts,
clarify
guys.
your thoughts there.
Awesome, awesome,
Okay.
awesome points, man. Thank
All
you.
right, Charles. No worries.
All
We'll
right,
catch
thanks,
up. Yeah.
Charles.
All right. Take it easy. So I think we should be even bringing our stream to a close. But I wanted to ask you, Cher, do you believe that situationships can be healthy? Are there any like benefits to it? Like being in a situationship, or do you think it's just damaging on the long term? Like nobody, don't ever find yourself in that position. If you do, just exit, get out.
I think and I said this earlier. A situationship is only as healthy as long as it lasts. In terms of like I said, the bridge. Your relationships, you situationships would usually happen in between the time when you meet somebody and you're getting attention. You guys are both talking more and spending more time with each other. Yeah, you're beyond the usual boy girl, right? You're beyond the usual friendship. You're
Yeah.
beyond the usual office mates. You are spending more time than usual. Do you get? As long as it's usually healthy at that point where you guys are go out on a date once or twice. You're seeing each other. You're spending time, and that's normal, right? Everybody, nobody's just going to, except maybe by divine, someone you hear a voice from heaven speak to you directly. This is the person you want to marry, and then you go and say, "I want to marry," and she says, "Yes, I heard the same voice. Let's get married and move on." If that doesn't happen, usually what happens is there's a friendship going on. It becomes deeper than the usual friendship. And then after it becomes deeper than the usual friendship, then you guys move into relationship. So at that point where it's deeper, that's when it can be healthy, which is normal. But the moment it begins to last more than usual, without it being defined immediately, being defined could be ending it. Being defined means take it to another level. If you define it, you realize, you guys look at it and realize, I'm not sure this will work. Too many red flags. I'm not sure our values align. For example, you believe in marriage, the other person doesn't believe in marriage. You believe in having kids, the person doesn't believe in having kids.
Yeah.
And that's actually quite common nowadays. Some people just don't want kids, they don't want the stress of it,
Yeah.
and they don't want to adopt as well. So you don't believe in fundamental issues or you don't believe in issues that are fundamental for both of you. Then you define it by saying this ends, this is not going forward, and then you move on.
Yeah.
You're defining it and you're ending it by ending it, or you define it by saying, okay, let's go into a relationship, or what some people call the courtship, where you guys are dating and then you guys are moving towards marriage. You get
Okay.
so the moment it begins to last long and drag, then it becomes a problem. That's my thought.
That's absolutely correct. I had a comment come in here. I'm trying to understand the comment, but I'll put it on the screen. It's from Carol Rutendo. She says, I think one other thing to explore here is the why behind the institution of relationships of an intimate romantic nature. Okay. I had
I
a
think
couple
you're
of
talking
comments here.
about defining it as why.
If you could
guys
throw if it's yeah, if you could throw a little more light on what you mean by that, I think it might come up soon on your screen as well. On your screen, yeah. Did it come up?
Yeah.
I think one other thing. I think one other thing to explore here is the why behind the institution of relationships of an intimate romantic nature. I yeah. Do you understand what that is saying? Because
I believe I have a
I don't
little
think it's a
idea.
question. Maybe she's trying to say that there's like we have to explore why should there be a romantic, intimate nature in the first place? Is that?
Yeah, I think that's just human nature, right? If I understand the question very well, why intimacy and romantic nature, why that exists. I mean, you're looking at the oldest book of all time, which is I believe is the Bible. If you don't believe, that's completely fine. But I believe if you look at it right from the get go, all the relationships and all that you look through in the Bible, that romantic and intimate nature, it's quite common, right? And I think it's human nature. Do you get? So because of our desires, what we long for, right? We long for companionship. We long for relationship. We long for commitment. We long for sex. We long for some of those things. So I think the reason why it's that prevalent or that strong a desire is because of human nature. But I get that some people don't feel as it as strongly as others, you know. But that's the reason why I think it's this prevalent or why it's such a strong topic. I
Okay.
hope that answers the question.
Okay. I think maybe, hopefully, she could, throw a little more light on that question at some point. Because I was trying to, I don't know if it was a question. Maybe she's just stating something that we need to also explore.
Right.
But before we even get to the last phase of this stream, to round it up, I wanted to ask you a really important question, and that would be on dating apps.
Right.
I want to understand how much harm, how dating apps and social media has, and even this hookup culture thing has contributed to this sort of situationship.
Right.
Do you think there's a relationship, a correlation between dating apps, hookup culture, casual sex, all these things? Do you think there's a high relationship between that and people now ending up in situationships where they are unable to move on?
Absolutely. You can't rule that out because the world that we live in now, dating apps and all that have become a part of it. Now you have Christian dating apps. You have all sorts of dating apps that
Yeah.
out there. Some that look to take advantage of you, and some that are really good and decent and are quite careful and safe. You know, so I believe it's one of the reasons why you find it because it doesn't have just means you can sit down on your bed, scroll left or scroll right, and look at a few things, and decide that who am I sleeping with today? Is it this person or that person? So I think dating apps are one of the things that contribute to it, but it's not the primary reason. The primary reason is just simple human nature, which is the fact that people just want to eat their cake and have it. You just want to be able to, you don't want to commit to somebody, but you want to enjoy the benefits of being with that person, enjoy the benefits of being in a committed relationships. So apps and some of those things make it easier, dating apps and some of those things make it easier for you to, just hook up with somebody or just be with somebody and all that. But I think at the end of the whole thing, the prevalent or the fundamental reason is just human nature, really. People just want to eat their cake and have it.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. That throws more light into that. So I think she put I think there's a comment in terms of explaining
Right.
what that meant. As in, okay, so she says, as in why God saw it fit to bring about the institution of marriage, not situationship.
Well, number one, I'm not God, so I can't answer that question. No, but number two is, I think people need to look at marriage from the perspective of half full rather than half empty.
Yeah.
You have to look at the benefits of it, and I believe the benefits of it outweigh the disadvantages or the fears that people have. So if you look at it as half empty, then you'd always look at the adverse side of things. But if you look at it from the half full part, then you can see the benefits of it, the benefits of committing to somebody, the benefits of having why if you have a situationship, it means the person can leave or walk away anytime.
Yeah.
And you can say, well, that's good, right? Is that not a good thing that I can just walk away? Well, if you can walk away, then all we're just going to have is broken homes. You're not going to have stable homes. And we all know what broken homes do. And I'm not saying that broken homes are a terrible thing because unfortunately that's one of the things that happens in society. But I think ideally we want longer lasting homes where people are committed to each other, where people look at each other and stay with each other for as long as possible, as long as they leave. That's what we want ideally, because there's, peace of mind, not running helter skelter. Because if you leave this person and you go to another person, and then you go to another person, and then you go to another person, what's the guarantee that this new other person is going to be more satisfying than the other person you left?
Be different.
Do you get it? Just going into another person because everybody has a skeleton in their cupboard. So you go into this person, you can't handle the skeleton in their cupboard. Then you go to another person, you meet that other person, and you see that other skeleton, and then you move, and then you see another issue, and you're just going to keep flip flopping and and before you know, you're just going around, running around the world. So I think for society, as an institution, and as a world that we live in, I think we're better off with. And if you look at the statistics, and I don't want to quote something that is inaccurate out there, if you look at it very well, you find that there is more stability. I'm trying very hard to avoid. I've been trying very hard to avoid the race thing here. But
Yeah.
if you look at the Black America and White America, one of the reasons why you find so much stability in White America in terms of families and homes is because the marriage institution is such. Well, I can't say about now, but it has always been such a fundamental and foundational issue for them, and they preach it even on Fox and all that, and some of those channels. They preach some of those things, and even on CNN and some of those channels because it's fundamental and it's institutional. But if you look at the Black community and you see that divorce and situationships is significantly more common. White America would even define it that even if you don't want to get married, you can be in a partnership. And all that. So, and I'm not saying this, definitely that this white America or Black America is this or that. I'm just saying generally, and I think you're better off. I honestly believe that as a society and as a community and as a people, we're better off when marriage is prevalent and people are committed to each other.
Well, we're better off in marriage as
compared to
men and
situationships.
women
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
so as a
Without a doubt.
society.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Because I even read something that said, what was the stats? I can't remember how high it was of the amount of young men who are incarcerated come from broken homes,
Right,
or come
exactly.
from
Yeah.
single mom or that kind of
Yeah,
situation.
exactly.
That's like crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
That tells you how important marriage can be in
Absolutely.
for a society.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna throw one last question to you here, and I mean I think we touched on this a bit, but what advice would you give to young people who feel stuck in a situationship cycle and want more, something that is more meaningful? I can tell you, like, I mean, situationship is a thing. It's pretty strong right now, especially young people dating without a defined goal, dating just aimlessly, jumping from one person to the other. Even, what advice would you give to anybody right now who is watching this, or who you even know? If you think of somebody and be like, I know this person is in a position where they want more, but they are not able to get it. I've heard, I mean, from reading a lot of things and studying a lot of things, I know that women hold the keys to sex and men hold the keys to marriage. So,
And that's general, right?
yeah,
That's generally
yeah.
okay.
So that's why you find that most times,
Sex is still common, but marriage is not as common.
yeah.
I hear you.
So I mean, it's kind of like I believe it's most men who are the gatekeepers, or who are probably at the gate. They're holding back a relationship from moving into marriage.
Right.
Even though I know there are some men who are in relationships where the woman is not ready and they are.
Absolutely.
So just generally speaking, like if somebody is in a situationship right now, as a man, you can address from a man's perspective or from a woman's perspective, what advice would you give them if they want more and they're not getting it from this person?
So I like the fact that you defined it further by saying you want more. So what we're assuming that you want more in terms of marriage. I mean, the benefits of marriage, but you're not getting it, and you're in a situationship. You're stuck in the. What I would say is, again, talking about time. You cannot afford to keep wasting time. Money. Your time is your life. Is the currency that we spend. The difference between a poor man and a rich man is how they spend their time. Whether the reason why two people will grow up from the same poor background, and one will grow up to be rich and the other will grow up to be poor, is because there's time and chance, but it's because one values their time more than the other person. I mean, when this other person was just playing around and having a good time and doing stuff, this other person was busy preparing, studying their books, or if you're an athlete, spending time with basketball or soccer, spending time honing their craft. Whereas the other person was just wasting their time watching TV and doing stuff like that. And before you know, both of them are growing. And as they grow, one begins to expand while the other person begins to shrink. What am I trying to say by saying all of this? You must value your time. So if you're in a situationship right now and you're trying to move forward and it's the woman that is holding it back, then you need to sit down and ask yourself, why is she? You need to ask her, what exactly is the problem? Again, sometimes you just have to, bite the pill and just move on with yourself. Sometimes you have to do that. You can't wait for someone forever. Now, if you're waiting for someone that you're just in the chasing stage, then that's completely fine. I know we talked about this. I don't want to repeat myself. Then that's fine. You're chasing, because there's a chance you see light at the end of the tunnel. But you're seeing this person and you're not even prioritizing this person's life. Yeah, there are other men. She has a closer friend that is a guy. Then what are you doing? Just leave it and move on, right? And if it's a case of the girl is ready, you are the one that is afraid, then you need to address it. Honestly, therapy is a good way to address it these days. Therapy, it can be cheap. For most working class people, therapy is part of the benefit one of your work perks and the benefits that you enjoy. So maybe you want to take advantage of it and ask yourself, maybe there can be a fundamental psychological issue why you are still holding back, why you're afraid of committing yourself. It could be trauma from your childhood, it could be fear. It could even be an issue with the person that you're dating and you're afraid of addressing that issue. It could be a lot of things, but you need to ask yourself questions. And when you begin to ask yourself questions and begin to dig further, you begin to find things, and then you can address those things. And then you can move. You can't just keep wasting time and just waiting and hoping that situation changes. Hope is not a strategy.
So waiting and hoping, that's probably not going to do anything.
Yeah, just take action. Ask the person, move. Ask the lady, what exactly is it that you want? Can we talk about it? Is it me? Is it you? What exactly is it that's holding you back? And if she's not giving you a concrete answer, then you need to ask yourself and move forward. I remember there was someone that we dated for a little while.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons why it didn't quite work out was from the get-go, it just didn't work out. I knew because she enjoyed my company, she enjoyed the perks of being with me. And then when it was a situationship, and I said, what exactly are we doing? And then I asked her, and she said, no, I don't think so. And I committed, and I gave her like full commitment. Look here, if you're afraid of commitment, you're afraid that this guy's going to break your heart. You're afraid of this, I'm afraid of that, you're afraid of that. I promise you, I guarantee you, based on this and that and that, I promise you I will be better, I'll be this, I'll be that, I'll be that. And she said, okay, she's in a better place, she'll think about it. And then she didn't say yes as well. And I said, okay, it's not going to work out. Maybe she just doesn't dig me. And then I left. And then after I left, a few weeks later, she called me. I said, okay, let's give it a shot. Now, first of all, the reason why she called me back was not because I was was not because she changed her mind as such. It was just a case of she mixed the benefits of being with me. And she just said, okay, let's give it a shot. And then we dated for a very short while, maybe even weeks. And then I just knew this wasn't. And that's when I called. I said, "Look, this is not going to work. Number one, I see your level of commitment to me, and I don't think it's going to work." And we had a honest conversation. Our friends now, honest conversation, and we both knew it wasn't going to work, and we both ended it. Can you imagine if I'd stayed there because she was fine, or because she was this, or because she was that? So just move on with yourself. Time is precious. Don't waste it.
Absolutely. Guys, time is precious. Your time is important. And if you are in a relationship that is undefined, you better get out from it as soon as possible. That's all I'm hearing from Cher here, which I absolutely agree with. Your time is precious. As a young man, if you're in a relationship with a girl, you want more with her, but she's not ready. You are better off exiting that relationship and, finding someone. Do not be afraid the fact that, you are the only one for me. No, there's no one person that is meant for, is a must, you must marry this person. And if you don't, you've missed your destiny or your life. No, you can always find genuine love with someone else out there. Guys, it's been a wonderful stream with Cher. I'm going to show his face again. He's chilling and relaxing. It's been a wonderful stream. We had to make this walk, and he made this walk by showing up. I really appreciate you showing up and talking to people on Facebook, and also actually mainly on YouTube, but we added Facebook there as well. Just for people who wanted to join us. So if you have any other questions, comments, anything you want to say, you can add. You can put it on the live stream. The chat will still be open. This video is going to be available on YouTube especially. It might be available to on Facebook for some time. And if you're on YouTube and you want to rewatch it, you can always go back and rewatch it. And I hope I see more of you. This was our fourth live, was it, or third live? I think it was our fourth live on our channel. We're still, getting somewhere with it, but I appreciate Cher for showing up.
Absolutely.
And we've had a good time for the past 2 hours, even with Charles calling in and some questions in the comments as well. So, guys, I'll be seeing more of you around. We're going to end the stream here. Thank you for joining us, and have a good one. Peace out.
All right. Cheers. Bye.